What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today I want to show you a deck list of a deck that I told you I was excited about. And I'm pretty transparent on these videos, right? When a deck looks really cool, I tell you. When I'm excited about stuff, I tell you. And I told you that Sakuyamon looked like a really fun deck from EX-02. And now it's out, and it's in the wild, and it's starting to win. And I remain pretty gosh darned excited about this. The deck that's going to be looking here comes from Moonwolfen over on Twitter. Shout out to the lovely DTCG review for helping me find the deck list. That dude is awesome. And we've got a deck here built very much around that Sakuyamon from EX-02, the one that I am rather excited about. Oh, I should mention any translated proxies we're using here are from the lovely folks over at DigimonCard.dev, and I think I've been pretty clear in saying I'm a pretty big fan of the lovely folks over at DigimonCard.dev. So starting off then with the Digitama, we have got Pokemon, and it's really hard to talk about that without accidentally saying Pokemon. Exactly, it's the same basic word. And what we've got here is a Digitama that says, when you use an option card that costs 2 or more, draw a card. And as we're going to see, this is very much a deck that wants to be doing exactly that. There is no 5th Digitama here, which is kind of interesting. You can play a 5th one. Usual rule is if you're only playing 4 and you're not playing some random 5th, the reason for that very simply is you only want this one and you don't want to play a 5th one that might, well, basically hatch instead of the one you actually want. Now moving over into level 3s, we have a playset of the Renamon from this particular set from EX-02, and if you're playing Sakuyamon, this probably shouldn't surprise you. 3 cost play normally, 0 cost to Digivolve, 1000 power, but when you play, you reveal 4 cards on the top of your deck, and you can add a card with Kyubimon, Taomon, or Sakuyamon in its name, and a Riken and Naka to your hand, returning the other cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. So basically this is just giving you extra consistency. You are searching for other parts of your deck, which is brilliant. Oh yeah, and it's got an inheritable skill. When you use an option card of a memory cost of 2 or more, gain a memory. This is going to keep adding up. You should not be surprised. Now, we do have a lovely Patamon coming in here that we've got a playset of. Specifically, we are talking about the Patamon that came around in the starter deck. That's right, the first Patamon ever. Once per turn, when your opponent's Digimon is deleted because its power was reduced to 0, gain a memory. It's yellow. You reduce power. In any deck where you think you're going to be doing that occasionally, this is really nice because it gains your memory. Bearing in mind that Renamon is also gaining you memory here, that means that over the course of the game, you're going to get yourself a whole bunch of bonus memory, and that's a very good thing indeed. And then we've also got a playset of Salamon here, and I'm going to be honest with you, right, if you're playing the Digimon TCG right now, you're probably not going to be surprised to learn that it is the Salamon from BT3, because when you're attacking, one of your opponent's Digimon loses 1000 power for the turn. Bearing in mind, you've got the really nice combo with the Patamon we've just talked about there, and that works really rather nicely indeed. We're lowering power, we're hurting our opponent, we get to combo with some of the other stuff around in our deck, and this all starts sounding pretty gosh darned good to me. Now moving over into level 4s, obviously we've got Kyubimon here. We kind of knew that was coming because of the skill on Renamon. And when you Digivolve, you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and you can add an option card with plug-in to your hand. Now you may remember from when we looked at Renamon, etc. and Sakuyamon first time round in these videos, or you might not, but plugins are what we're using here. That is what is going to be, well, those are going to be the option cards we're going for. That is really the hook of Sakuyamon here. So having a way to search them out when you Digivolve up into your level 4, clearly a good thing. Also on your turn, once per turn, when you use an option card of a cost of 2 or more, one of your opponent's Digimon loses 2000 power for the turn. Well, you've also got the combo with Salamon there, which is rather lovely. And of course, Patamon will gain you memory if you delete somebody. You see where we're going with this, ladies and gentlemen. It's kind of brilliant and awesome. So yeah, this is something that probably shouldn't surprise you. Now, we do also have a lovely blocker coming in here as well. It's a yellow level 4. It's a 1-cost to Digivolve. It's got a blocker. You see where we're going with this one. It's Pitamon. And essentially, the reason we play this is because it's a 1-cost blocker. It kind of is as simple as that. You need blockers in basically every deck. Blockers give you a whole bunch of options to stop your opponent. We see that basically every deck plays blockers for a pretty gosh darn good reason. This is a blocker. It's 1-cost to Digivolve. That's why we're playing it. It really is as simple as that. You lose 2 memory when you're attacking, but you're not going to be attacking here. Simple. You're playing it because it's a blocker, and that's all you really want to do. Speaking of which, the other level 4 we've got here, we got 3 copies of Unimon. And it's a blocker, and it loses 2 memory when it attacks. Now, it's honestly not as good as Pitamon, because Pitamon's a 1-cost to Digivolve, and this is a 2-cost to Digivolve, but we're already playing a playset of Pitamon here. So we play this as extra. And essentially, this deck is going, right, I've got what I actually want to do, which is get Sakuyamon and go with my option cards and all of that. The only level 4 I really want to have here is the one that's going to help me search out those option cards, my Cubamon here. So I'm going to fill up the rest of my level 4s with blockers so I can actually stay on the field long enough to actually get rolling and do my thing, so to speak. Makes perfect sense. Then moving up into level 5, we've got Taumon. Again, this one can be searched with Renamon, and again, this just fits the deck beautifully. When you Digivolve, you may play a Riken and Naka from your hand without paying. Bearing in mind you have hopefully searched Rika out with Renamon, so you search with Renamon and then play for free with Taumon when you Digivolve. Yes, the synergy here is absolutely beautiful, and that's going to get your Rika out, and that's really rather lovely. Plus, on your turn, once per turn, when you use an option card costing 2 or more, one of your opponent's Digimon loses 2,000 power for the turn. It's exactly the same inheritable skill as Cubamon here, and it combos nicely with your Salamon, and you've got that skill on Patamon, and you've got a real theme running through here, which is really rather lovely indeed. We like this. This works. This works of exactly what it is we're trying to do. Now, we've also got here Rise Greymon. We got 3 copies of Rise Greymon. And when you Digivolve, you can play a yellow Tamer from your hand without paying. Play cost don't activate, but you can play a Tamer for free. That's a good thing. And we are playing some Tamers in here, obviously. And we've also got here an inheritable skill. While you have 3 or more yellow Tamers in play, you gain security attack +1. But this lets you play Tamers for free, and Taumon lets you play Tamers for free, and bearing in mind they are security cards, so you get to play them for free if they come out of your security, and you can be searching them out with Renamon. And I'm not saying you are always in every game going to be able to get free Tamers out, but I absolutely am saying that you are going to be able to do this more than you will in a bunch of decks. So now all of a sudden, you've got security attack +1, and you're playing Tamers for free, and this sounds pretty gosh darn good to me. Now, we also see 1 copy of Sylphimon coming in here. This is your one from BT8. It is a dual colour red and yellow Digimon, which is kind of useful, I suppose. And what we've got here is DNA Digivolve, Jogress Digivolution, from a red level 4 and a yellow level 4. I'm going to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. You ain't playing any red level 4s, so sorry about that. That's not going to work. But when Digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon loses 5,000 power for the turn, and when you are attacking, you delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 5,000 power or less, so you've got some pretty obvious combos going on with everything else that we've got in play here. Plus, we do have a red option card, so maybe this becomes relevant. We'll get there in a moment. Now, of course, what we're really building up to here is Sakuyamon. That's a real hook of the deck. This is why we're playing, and we've got a full playset of the new one from EX-02. When digivolving, you want to spend one of your Digimon, and for each tamer you have, you return an option card with plugging in its name from your trash to your hand. So again here, we've absolutely got reasons why we want to play as many tamers as possible. We are being incentivized to get a whole bunch of tamers into play, and this is cool. Also on your turn, when you use an option card of a cost of 2 or more, one of your opponent's Digimon loses 3,000 power for the turn, and we've already seen there are a bunch of things in this deck that will also do that, because bearing in mind, when you use an option card with 2 or more, Sakuyamon gets minus 3,000, but if you've Digivolved from Taomon, there's another minus 2,000, and Kyubamon also another minus 2,000, and this is going to add up very, very quickly indeed. What I do very much enjoy here is that there is actually another Sakuyamon coming in here as well. There is a singlet copy, just one of the ones from BT5. On your opponent's turn, when your opponent's Digimon goes from the breeding area to the battle area, they get security attack -3, almost guaranteeing they won't be taking out any security. And on your turn, all of your opponent's security Digimon get minus 3,000 power. So you're far, far less likely to be deleted by security Digimon. And if you can get this out, and bearing in mind you can search for this, Renamon will help you get this out a little bit more easily. And you only need one copy of these in play. Both of these skills are basically sitting there to annoy your opponent. So if you can get one of these and leave it in play, it's actually going to be really fun for you. Not so much fun for your opponent. Now, obviously, in terms of tamers, we're playing for Rika Nanaka. I've already mentioned her a bunch of times during this particular video, because there's combos going on all over the place. She can be searched out with Renamon, and she can be played for free when you Digivolve into Taomon, etc. But at the start of your turn, it guarantees you have free memory, which is quite nice. And on your turn, when your Digimon with Renamon, Kobemon, Taomon, or Sakuyamon in its name attacks, which is going to be a lot of your Digimon, you can suspend it to use an option card with plugging in its name without paying its memory cost. But you will still draw a card with Pokemon, you'll still gain a memory with Renamon, you'll still lower all of the power with all of the other Digimon, you just won't actually have to pay to use it, which is ridiculous. Plus, obviously, we've got a security skill, you can play it without paying. That's, I'm going to be honest with you, right? That's pretty standard at this stage. They've all had it. But we also do have a single copy here coming in of Taikamiya. This is obviously the yellow one, the one that came around in BT4. If you have 3 or 4 security, all of your Digimon gain 1,000 power. It's not a game-breaking skill or anything, but, it's nice to have that extra 1,000 power. Obviously, that's pretty gosh darn cool. And on your turn, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted by dropping it to 0 power, you can suspend it to gain a memory. So it actually works very much like Patamon here, whereby you lower a Digimon enough to delete it, and hey, you gain a memory. That's quite nice. Both Patamon and this are limited to once per turn. Patamon is limited to once per turn. This you have to suspend, which essentially limits it. But that's kind of cool. It works quite nicely. Now, in terms of option cards, obviously the plugins are the real stars here. That shouldn't surprise anyone. And we've got a little bit of a mix. So we've got 2 of the green Super Evolution plugin. Now, it is important to note, all of these say when you have a tamer in play, you can use it ignoring its colour requirements. And this is important, you aren't playing any green Digimon. But you draw a card, and then you can Digivolve into a Digimon with a cost of 3 or less, without paying. Now, realistically here, you're paying 2 memory to play the card, unless you play it for free with Rika. But it means that, your Sakuyamon isn't a free cost to Digivolve, it's a 2 cost, and you draw a card. That's pretty good. It's not too bad. We've got 1 copy of the blue high-speed plugin, but again, if you've got a tamer, you can play it regardless. And one of your Digimon games jamming, which means it won't be deleted by security Digimon, and it can't be blocked, basically meaning you are going to attack and you are not going down, which is really rather nice. And then we got one copy of the red attack plugin A, which as long as you've got a Tamer in play, you can play it without meeting its requirements. Although remember, we do have that one copy of Sakuyamon that will allow you to play this if you don't have a Tamer. And it gives you security attack +1 for the turn, which is quite nice. And I know we've got 1, 1, 2, we've only got 4 in total, but please do remember we have got ways to recover these, which is pretty important. When you Digivolve Sakuyamon, you can put them back into your hand, so these are going to come back quite nicely. These are, however, not the only option cards we've actually got here. We do have a couple of other yellow option cards which are making an appearance. We have got 3 copies of Blast Fire from BT1, which changes the original power of one of your opponent's Digimon to 3000 until the end of their next turn. So basically you set one of your opponent's power to 3000 so that you can then come in with Sakuyamon, lower it by 3000 and oh look, they're going down. Although we do have other ways to lower power here, that is absolutely one option. It's kind of funny, honestly. I love that combo. It's really very fun indeed. And then we've got ourselves a couple copies of Reinforced Memory Boost from BT6. When you play it, you reveal the top 2 cards of your deck, put one face down at the top of your security and the other one into your hand, and then on a delay you get to gain free memory. This is nice. Draw a card, pop down an extra security. Sounds good to me, ladies and gentlemen. Sounds pretty good to me. Plus, of course, when you play these option cards, you get all of those other bonuses we've been talking about throughout the video. And this sounds pretty gosh darned good. I like this deck. I'm not a huge yellow player myself, but when you've got all of these option cards you can play around with, when you're constantly gaining memory, you've got draw engines, you're lowering power, and then gaining advantages when you drop the 0 power, this is just absolutely ridiculous, and I love it. Might even be a top tier deck, although it is a little bit early yet, ladies and gentlemen. We can't quite say it yet, but it's definitely got a pretty gosh darn good chance. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about this, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.